People say some storms arrive with thunder, but this one started in complete silence. The kind of silence that feels wrong, the kind that makes your heart know something terrible is already happening before your mind dares to accept it. And that silence surrounded Noah and Ava's love long before either of them realized their story was slowly turning into a lesson. From the outside, they looked perfect, the couple everyone believed would last, the pair that seemed calm, balanced, deeply connected, the kind that made friends say if they ever break up, love isn't real. But love has a way of breaking quietly, layer by layer, until one day it isn't love anymore. It's just habit dressed like loyalty. Noah was the kind of man who believed kindness made everything okay, someone who thought gentle smiles could fix anything. And Ava was the woman who once believed him, completely trusting every promise, every warm look, every simple "I love you." For a long time, she truly believed she was enough for him. But betrayal never arrives loudly. It arrives disguised as just a friend, as you're overthinking, as don't worry. And the first time Ava noticed the shift, it wasn't in Noah's words, it was in his attention. His phone wasn't just a phone anymore, it was a locked door. His smile wasn't just happiness anymore, it was a mask. His reassurances weren't comforting anymore, they were rehearsed. And Ava, the woman who once never doubted him, slowly learned the painful skill of noticing everything. She noticed the way he laughed harder at someone else's messages. She noticed how he suddenly had late work nights that didn't exist before. She noticed the way he stopped looking at her like she was his world and instead looked at her like she was just familiar. Still, she said nothing because love makes people patient, hopeful, sometimes foolishly hopeful, believing maybe it's stress, maybe it's life, maybe it's just a phase, maybe if she loved him harder it would go away. But betrayal doesn't disappear when ignored. It grows. The truth revealed itself not in a dramatic discovery but in something painfully ordinary: a notification, a name she didn't recognize, laughter and messages meant for someone else, and a tone of affection that didn't belong to her anymore. There it was, proof, reality, a truth so sharp it changed the shape of the world in 1 second. Noah had given his emotional loyalty to someone else long before Ava knew she was competing for something that should have been hers by promise. And yet, when people imagine betrayal, they picture screaming, tears, shattered glass, but Ava didn't scream. She didn't cry in front of him. She simply looked at the man she loved and realized she was staring at a stranger wearing the face of someone she trusted. Noah apologized, of course. They all do. He said it didn't mean anything. He said he was confused. He said he still loved her, as if love and betrayal could share the same heart without poisoning it. But something inside Ava changed that day. Something deep, quiet, powerful. She didn't hate him, not yet. She didn't want revenge, not yet. But something like steel formed inside her, a resolve that didn't exist before. She stayed. That was the surprising part. She didn't walk away, even though she had every reason to. Instead, she chose patience, not because she was weak, but because she wanted to see who Noah truly was when given a second chance. Sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is wait, not in desperation, but in clarity. Noah, believing he'd been forgiven, believed everything would return to normal. He believed Ava's silence meant safety. He believed her calmness meant healing. But what he didn't understand was that while he was relaxing, Ava was observing. Every promise he made, she measured. Every effort he didn't put in, she remembered. Every little selfishness, every small lie, every moment where he chose comfort instead of honesty was silently collected inside her heart like evidence preparing for a verdict. Their love didn't collapse overnight. It decayed, and decay is worse because it gives hope time to suffer. And yet, despite the cracks, there were still moments that looked like love, laughter, memories, inside jokes, shared routines, moments that almost convinced Ava to believe again. But trust is not built on moments, it's built on consistency, and Noah wasn't consistent in anything except disappointment. What hurt the most wasn't even what he did. It was realizing that after everything, he still didn't understand what he broke. Ava wasn't just dealing with betrayal. She was mourning a future that no longer existed, grieving a version of them that had died. But something else slowly began to grow inside her too: strength. One day, she woke up and realized she no longer needed Noah to choose her. She no longer waited for him to prove himself. She no longer wanted love that required begging for honesty. She didn't just want to leave him. She wanted to leave him with the weight of his own choices. Revenge didn't appear as anger in her heart. It appeared as clarity. Real revenge was never about hurting him back, it was about ensuring he understood what losing her truly meant. And as Noah continued living comfortably in the illusion that everything was fine again, Ava quietly began writing the ending to a story he still believed had already been saved. Ethan thought everything would calm down once the truth exploded into the open, but the days that followed felt even colder than the night he discovered Lily's betrayal. The house was quiet, painfully organized, like a museum of broken memories, and every corner whispered reminders of what used to be real, or what he had believed was real. And while Lily tried to explain herself, saying it had been a moment of weakness, a mistake, something she never meant to happen, he could see in her eyes that it was not sudden, not accidental, but a carefully hidden part of her life that had been growing in the shadows while he trusted her blindly, and that truth wounded him more than the betrayal itself. He stopped answering her messages, he stopped reacting to her tears, and he stopped trying to understand her, because understanding meant reopening the wound again and again. So instead, he focused on silence, on regaining control over a life that had spun out of his hands. Meanwhile, Lily started to panic, because for the first time Ethan wasn't begging, wasn't shouting, wasn't pleading for answers, he was simply gone emotionally, and that terrified her more than anger ever could. The man she cheated with disappeared instantly, refusing to take responsibility, leaving Lily to face the storm alone, and suddenly she wasn't the one in power anymore. She was the one left behind, the one afraid of losing everything. Ethan began rebuilding himself quietly, spending more time outside, finding new routines, rediscovering who he was before everything revolved around Lily. And as he grew stronger, Lily became weaker, constantly trying to fix things, constantly knocking on a door that no longer opened. Realizing too late that some hearts don't break twice, they simply close forever. When she finally begged him to talk one last time, Ethan didn't scream or accuse. He simply told her calmly that love without loyalty is poison, and forgiveness without trust is a prison, and he refused to live inside a story where he was always the one trying while she was the one destroying. Lily cried, shaking, understanding that this was truly the end, not a dramatic breakup followed by reconciliation, but a final chapter closing with quiet certainty. And for the rest of her life, she would remember the look in his eyes. Not hatred, not rage, but pure emptiness, as if she no longer existed to him. Ethan walked away not as the broken victim, but as someone who finally understood his worth, someone who realized that betrayal is not just a mistake, it is a choice that rewrites everything. And sometimes the strongest revenge is not chaos, not destruction, but simply moving on without looking back, leaving the person who hurt you to drown in the silence they once thought they controlled.